Mr. Clerk, close the machines, take the vote. Ayes 36, no 0, no abstentions. All right, so we can keep moving.
In a pretty massive upset for Republicans, the Nashville Council has voted unanimously, 36-0, to reinstate Justin Jones to the Tennessee House of Representatives 4 days after the chamber's Republicans used their majority to expel him for the crime of standing alongside students and young people protesting the inaction of those Republicans in the wake of students getting shot at a Nashville school. The Nashville Council returned Jones back to his District 52 seat as an interim representative until a special election is held to permanently fill his seat. And given that Jones is also eligible to run, there's no reason to believe that it would ever be anyone other than Jones. The other black legislator expelled by the Tennessee House of Representatives is Justin Pearson, who represents the Memphis area. County commissioners in Shelby County have similarly vowed to reappoint Pearson to his House seat. That commission will meet on Wednesday this week to discuss the matter. And of course, the final Democrat who Republicans set their sights on was Gloria Johnson, who avoided an expulsion by a single vote. And the only difference between her and the other two? Well, take a look for yourself. And look, I'm not saying that the only reason that Gloria Johnson was able to keep her seat was because of the racism of those Republicans, but that is exactly what Gloria said.
I will answer your question. It might have to do with the color of our skin.
So yeah, take it from her. And so in their desperation to consolidate power and discard democracy, now Justin Jones is arguably one of the most famous politicians in the entire country. He's back exactly where he started, and the eyes of the nation are now on Tennessee Republicans for their overtly anti-democratic behavior. And if by some miracle you don't think that Republicans fucked themselves here, take a look at Justin Jones leading a line of people as far as the eye can see. And here he is getting a hero's welcome as he arrives at the Capitol.
Being told this is it, the moment's about to happen, the doors are opening, and Justin Jones is re-entering the chamber of the Tennessee State Legislature to tremendous applause. We are losing Mark Thompson, but we still have Eugene Robinson and Juanita Tolliver. Juanita, what does this moment mean for you?
I am ecstatic. I just want to continuously say this is the only appropriate outcome for Representative Jones. I want to see the exact same for Representative Pearson. And honestly, I hope the people of Tennessee are watching this in real time. I hope they're seeing these images. I hope they're seeing all the steps from the Nashville Metro Council to this walk back to the State House to this entrance to the floor of the State House, because we understand that Republicans in this country don't want history told in the way that it actually happens. And so this is a historic moment in the state of Tennessee that shows that the people will not back down.
In other words, Republicans have unilaterally handed Justin Jones the country's biggest microphone, all because they were so desperate to silence someone who they didn't like and who had the audacity to disagree with them. And whether it was because he was a black man who dared speak out against them, or a liberal who dared speak out against guns, either way, Republicans couldn't accept the prospect that someone could commit the sin of speaking out against their inaction on gun violence, even as 9-year-old kids were mowed down in their schools. Because that's the problem here. Someone deigning to identify guns as the problem in a country that has a monopoly on both gun ownership and mass shootings. God forbid someone draws the very obscure link here. What's amazing, too, is watching the speed with which Republicans act when they want to do something. Expel some black legislators who dared speak out against them, give them a single day. But do something about gun violence as little kids are getting slaughtered? Well, you see, we can't act too quickly because we wouldn't want to politicize the problem. And also, it isn't really about guns, it's about mental health. And it's also about doors. And it's also about godlessness. And it's also about the disappearance of the nuclear family. And it's also about video games. It's just excuse after excuse, because the reality is that they don't want the problem to be solved. Their priority isn't the children, it isn't anyone's lives, It is the guns. And the faster we all accept that, the sooner we can stop fooling ourselves into thinking that they will ever do anything to stop it. And that's the point here. There is only one way to curb gun violence in this country, and that is to pass legislation, assault weapons bans, universal background checks, red flag laws. We need legislation to solve these problems, and that will not happen so long as Republicans are in office. So if you're a low propensity voting Democrat, if you're an independent, if you're a Republican who values the lives of children above the proliferation of guns, then put the partisan allegiances to the side and put people in power who are not wholly owned by the NRA. That is the one and only solution. I don't know how many more ways that Republicans can tell us that they are not willing to do anything to stop these shootings. They will never, never, never put people above guns. So if we want the gun violence to stop, we need to put people in power who are not there to defer to the guns. Period. Full stop. We should also reject wholesale this notion that we are powerless here, that we couldn't possibly do anything to solve this epidemic of gun violence plaguing this country, which I should note is the only country on the planet where this happens. And here's Jamie Raskin tackling that exact issue.
When gun violence happens, their go-to motto is, oh, this was evil. This is moral evil. There's evil in the world. Suddenly, they're all like cloistered theologians just pronouncing upon evil in the world, as opposed to elected officials who are sent to Congress in order to get something done, but they just throw up their hands and say, well, oh yes, 3 more school children were assassinated in school. There's evil in the world. C'est la vie. What more can be done? I mean, it's obscene. And future generations will look back on this as a period where an entire political party basically adopted an implicit policy of mass sacrifice, because they're basically saying we're going to sacrifice all of these innocent people who are being mowed down in massacres and just the daily toll of gun violence to our vision of the Second Amendment, which is a completely twisted and distorted view of the Second Amendment.
And look, I'm not so naive to think that Tennessee is going to flip into some liberal bastion because of this, but I do hope that this has woken up an entire generation of people, of young people, of black people, of independents, of pro-democracy Republicans, and shown them what's at stake when the party in power no longer respects the rules of a democracy. Consider this, a University of Washington study ranked the health of democracy in all 50 states. The lowest scoring state in the entire country, you guessed it, Tennessee. And now we're seeing exactly why that is. In fact, it looks like the media is beginning to catch on as well.
How one views democracy in Tennessee's General Assembly depends in part upon where you sit.
Senator Crow votes no.
In committee on the Senate side,
Senator Kelsey votes aye.
Committee members themselves decide whether bills live or die.
Mr. Chairman, you have 6 ayes and 2 noes.
Senate Bill 2168 is headed to the Committee on Calendar.
While on the House side,
all opposed say no. No. The noes have it. Bill fails.
that power is wielded almost exclusively by the people who chaired the committees.
Bill passes, it's on its way to full commerce.
This is not democracy, as far as I'm concerned.
And Democrat Gloria Johnson,
democracy is dead here in Tennessee as it stands right now.
And House Democratic Caucus Chair Vincent Dixie are not alone in their concerns.
Is this system broken?
The amendment system? Absolutely. This is where we need transparency.
It was a process we saw play out in real time this session as we watched seemingly innocuous bills being amended in committee to make dramatic changes. Tori Venable represents the libertarian group Americans for Prosperity.
This voice vote thing, we've seen plenty of committees. I'm sure you did a piece on that Airbnb one where it sounded one way and it went another way.
All in favor say aye. All opposed say no.
No.
The ayes have it.
You have committee chairs single-handedly deciding whether bills live or die. Is that democracy?
I don't think they single-handedly do that.
While House Speaker Cameron Sexton insists he doesn't see a problem, we had watched it happen again and again.
Let's put Tennessee in line with the Constitution.
Here, a bill to require state election officials to simply study the possible use of student IDs by college students to vote was gavelled dead by Murfreesboro Republican Tim Rudd.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay? No. Nay. I move that the bill fails.
Before the voice vote was even finished, activists later confronted him about the vote.
How many do we have? I'll go with the voice level.
We wanted to give Rudd a chance to explain.
You gabbled the bill dead before you even heard the votes. Can you explain that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Can you stop and...
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
In fact, the House committee rules say all votes constituting final action on any bill or resolution shall be by roll call vote. But with Republicans holding an absolute supermajority,
all those opposed say no. 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 The noes have it. I'm sorry, Bill Phelps.
There's no one to actually make them follow the rules.
So while I'm under no delusions about the political tilt of Tennessee, I'm also hopeful about the sheer quantity of people who are paying attention now, if only because Republicans overplayed their hand and watched their disgusting power grab backfire in spectacular fashion. Before you go, a quick announcement. I've started a Spanish YouTube channel. Democrats desperately need to be able to appeal to Spanish-speaking audiences, so this is me doing my part. To help that channel get going in the algorithm so that we can finally start spreading our progressive message and breaking the conservative stranglehold on Spanish-speaking media, please subscribe and watch a few videos. The link to that channel, called Brian Tyler Cohen Espanol, is right here on this screen. And of course, to see more of my content in English, make sure to subscribe to this channel as well. The link is also right here on this screen. Thanks so much for watching.